GM. Good morning, good afternoon, and where I am, good evening. Um, Welcome again. I can't believe it's already been a week. I'm excited to jump into some of the stuff we've got going on. You probably have heard some news in the Discord, and I cannot wait to jump into that. Once again, welcome to Tiny's Universe. I am Tiny Universe, and along with me tonight, we have Eben Matthews from Macroverse. So
Hello.
hopefully everybody knows who that is by now. And I would definitely love, as usual, to hear a introduction and see if you've been able to tighten that up any.
My name is Eben Matthews, co-founder, CEO of Macroverse, and yeah, man, a bunch of really cool stuff going on. There's always stuff that we're working on in the background, but as we have said over the past few weeks and couple of months, a lot of those things are kind of slowly clicking into place, and a couple of those have now become publicly, at least begun to become public. So excited to talk a little bit more about that and dive into it, as well as kind of a quick recap of new episodes on in Epics and new episodes on the mobile app and all the good stuff. So hopefully I'm not too out of sync tonight. I know I was a little bit in the last video. We're gonna get these tech problems solved one way or another, but at least we're here talking. Where do you want to go first?
I will say it's like the timing's off, but you're not in and out. Like last time, I think it was a little choppy. I can hear you perfect at least. It's just maybe not synced up perfect. But yeah, no, I know you had a pretty good space the other day with a lot of good announcements. I know there's a lot of good stuff rolling out every week on the app, so definitely super excited to dive into all of it, wherever you want to start.
No, you tell me. This is your show. I'm your guest.
Listen, I'm excited. So I mean, I think the biggest thing right now that I'm looking forward to is kind of recapping what you talked about on the space the other day, and I think like I mentioned before we came on live, there's probably a lot of people that either didn't make it, didn't have time to know it was coming up, or maybe didn't make it all the way through to where you jumped in. So I would love to kind of recap a little bit about what you talked about there and what's coming up for people like myself that are diehard collectors, and what we've got to expect, because I am super excited.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I am super excited too. So, I think that the context for this is really what Macroverse is kind of the simplest way of thinking about the ethos for Macroverse, or kind of where we live as a company and as an organization, and ideally as a community, as a organism as a whole, is really looking and continuing to innovate at the intersection of digital and collectible. And sometimes people might, think that means all digital, but collectible is all kinds of things. I am, as you are, a lifelong, physical comics collector. I have collected all kinds of things over the course of my life, be it, I'm really weirdly out of sync, but part of the show. But I've collected all kinds of things over the course of my life, from Pokemon and Magic cards to Marvel trading cards to 25 long boxes of comic books and graphic novels. I was definitely going to Target early in the morning or late at night trying to get long lightsaber Star Wars figures when the re-releases happened around the prequels. I got all the first couple of seasons of Spawn toys. I am that guy. And so, when they tell you as a startup founder to, make the thing that you would want, like, this is one of those things. So, wow. As we've been kind of pioneering the future of digital comics, that was never at the expense of, bringing things back into the world physically. And so, we've talked a little bit about, there will be physical print editions of multiple of our series coming out in comic stores and bookstores this year. There's several titles that are going to, kind of go out in traditional channels. And so we'll have this ecosystem, which has a very strong digital component, but also allows people that want that physical, tangible experience to have that. And so Mixprint is a really radical innovation at the intersection of those two things, in that for the first time, through a combination of really insane artistry plus technology, printing techniques, all three of those things come together to allow us to create one of X of anything that can be printed. And so when you think about walking into a comic store, as an example, you and I might go in there and go like, man, I really want that gold foil cover, or I really want that 1 in 100, variant cover that, our favorite artist drew. But imagine going into the comic store and they've got 50 copies of your favorite title, or they've got 10 copies of your favorite title, and every single one is a unique variant, that there's no two covers in the entire batch that are identical. And so, that's both really exciting to me as someone that's creating this. And it's also honestly a little bit like scary to me through my collector's hat, because I know I'm the guy that would walk into the store and have to buy all 10 of them because they're all different.
So that's what's especially different artists, and knowing Macroverse, and the talent that is just been coming up throughout the few years that I've been around. I can't imagine. And to see it, I know I'd be like, oh my God, you can't pick one. There's no way. That's me. I'd be like, I need all 10. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. So here's the cool part about it is, so in and of itself, like the physical thing is very, very cool. But then the problem there is that if you're printing 5,000 of these, you don't necessarily want to only be able to see the 10 that your local comic store has. You want to be able to see all 5,000 of them. You want to be able to find the ones that you vibe with the most, or that are the coolest, variations. And then on top of that, you might go, man, I really want that glow in the dark one. I really want that one with the spot varnish. I really want that one with the holofoil overlay. And like, we're building all those things into the collection here. And so in order to find your grails in the collection, the blockchain is the best way to do that. And so instead of going to the store, finding ones, and then redeeming a digital twin, we want to go the other way. So you mint the NFT, go on secondary market, find all the ones that you really care about having, and then very easily redeem the NFT for the physical. And so that's the way these drops are going to work. It's a whole bunch of different product categories, from comics and graphic novels to collectible vinyl records to toy packaging. Anything that can be printed, we will be releasing through Mixprint. And so the early access to that and the first drop will be the Mix Pass, which is essentially kind of an exclusive collectors club for these Mixprint drops. And so that's the first thing that's going to be coming really within the next couple of weeks. So we're kind of rolling into that very quickly. Hello and GM to new people in the Discord who are coming in through the Mixprint Twitter. We very much love having you there and are excited to have you join the community in this way. This will also be our first drop on Solana, so very excited about that. We're doing this with Magic Eden on the launch pad. So I think it's going to get a nice amount of attention. And then the exciting part is, once people have their Mix Pass, that will get you the first 3 Mixprint drops for free. And then it will also get you a bunch of exclusive access and perks along the way. And there are 22 golden tickets in the drop, which will get you 3 years of free Mixprint drops across all these different product categories. series.
That to me, that's like so exciting. I mean, I think about the epics and like, the chances of the covers and, I think about like even some of the other drops getting like 1 year of the Macroverse app is so, like, to me, like it's just such a, like such an amazing perk. But 3 years of everything, I mean, like, talk about like the grand prize.
Golden ticket, baby. Golden
I
ticket.
know, God, like, oh man, that really is like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory to me. Like as a collector and as a Macroverse super fan, like there's gonna be 22, well, maybe 22 people, maybe somebody really lucky.
Yeah, I mean that would be the universe's cruel sense of humor, as someone gets like 5 golden tickets.
The rich get richer, but no. I mean, to me, I heard you say that the other day, and I was just like, "Oh my God!" Instantly jealous. Instantly jealous of any. If I don't have one, jealous of anybody who does.
Yeah. So I mean, it's exciting, and I will say, like, having worked on a bunch of the stuff that we've worked on now for the past several years, the other thing that's really cool about this Mixprint initiative, and it really is inventing a new product category. It's a new, collectible category that doesn't exist prior to this. There is no other one of X, comic series or, collectible vinyl records or movie posters or, any of the things that we'll be bringing out through Mixprint. So, it's fun to kind of be doing this new thing. It's also been something that's been incredibly well received by our partners, by people that will be licensing material from. So, the first 3 Mixprint drops are already signed, sealed, and in production with Titan Comics. And for anyone that doesn't know Titan is a top 5 publisher worldwide. Their catalog of content is very deep. It's, everything from Blade Runner and Conan to Horizon Zero Dawn, and they've got a very popular title called Gun Honey, and they've done Robotech, they've done all kinds of incredible stuff that people absolutely know and recognize. And so we're doing some very cool titles that we can't announce just yet, but are going to be really cool as the first batch of Mixprint releases. And so again, you'll mint the Mix Pass. Mix Pass will get you those first 3 Titan drops for free, and then you'll be able to go and find the ones that you want in that drop or in secondary, and then redeem them for the physicals, which would be very cool.
So I think like my big question here that I wanted to ask on the space, but obviously just being in the crowd and being at work, I wasn't gonna raise my hand and try to bump in, but to me, that's huge. That's epic in its own sense. The partnership with Titan is mind blowing, and to have that out for everybody here, I think is super bullish, and super exciting. But my big question is, I already know for physicals quality with them, doing that, it's going to be amazing. But can we expect to see any of their previous titles come into the app or tap format?
Ooh, you asked me these hard questions. Let me, like, this is a nod and a wink, which I will just say the Titan relationship is very strong. And there are dots that can be connected from these various conversations. I could say that much.
That was like when you said that, I was like, oh man, I cannot wait to see what's gonna happen. So that's I know quality wise, and I wouldn't expect anything less than the best from you guys anyway. But I cannot wait to hold a physical, and man, it's just, and the big thing I'm curious about is vinyl records.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be awesome. I mean, again, like, we've already announced we're doing a project with DMC that will be coming out later this year. I think, one of the things that I think about is like, we are basically putting all these quivers, putting all these quivers onto our backs. And in each of those quivers, we're putting a bunch of arrows. And so as we pull these arrows from the various quivers that we've assembled, there's a lot of firepower for how all of these things connect. And to me, that's one of the things very exciting, is that when we think about, building franchises like we've been talking about for years, and as we think about, developing content internally, as well as bringing other creators' content into the various, platforms and apps, and now, with this Mixprint technology and the ability to connect physical and digital from the digital side to the physical side, it's not that big of a step to go, what about connecting things from the physical side to the digital side? How do epics play into this? Like, all of these different pieces that we've been kind of slowly but surely putting onto the board. It's not a random assortment of things. They actually really all do connect. And I think over the rest of this year, our big thing at the beginning of this year, if you go back and look in the Discord or on our Twitter, is like a pretty extensive sneak peek at the main things that we're focused on this year in 2024. And a big part of that is all these pieces we've been putting in place finally all connecting. And that's the big mission for this year, is to all these dots connect, all these things play into each other, support each other, and ultimately bring more value back to the community, to the ecosystem, to everything that we're building.
Definitely. And I will say too, this is one of the things that I personally love. Anybody that's kind of new, especially coming in from Mixprint and Solana and what we're about, the rest of the stuff we'll get into, there is like breadcrumbs and like a paper trail of everything that we've done, whether you're in the old, GSA Discord or Bushido's Discord, everything's been archived. And even in the Macroverse Discord, it's all been archived. You can see everything that we've done. And here in YouTube, you can come in, you can see the super cool sneak peeks, all the, short clips that have been put to, it's just, everything's there, and you can catch yourself up at any time. But that's one of the things I love, is you can still come in right now being fresh, not really knowing what's going on. It's going to take some time, but you can literally see, everything that we've done. I think there's still audio of like original storytelling 101s and stuff. So, I mean, it's just mind blowing how much history is actually still there, and people can catch up on.
Yeah. I mean, I am, and actually anyone, you and anyone in the community, like I'm really interested in some feedback on the organization of the Discord, because as things continue to grow, like I do recognize that it can be a little unwieldy to come in and go like, what are all these channels and what are you doing with them? So one thing I'm working on is a little bit of an onboarding, process for like, you come in and we go, here are all the different things you can do here. If you're interested in this, go here. If you're interested in this, go here. So like giving you a few different starting points. It's why we launched Mixprint as a separate Twitter and a separate section, is that we wanted to keep this a little cleaner for new people to come in for this specific project. So, I just put it up on screen, but, the Twitter handle for Mixprint is M1X print. And of course that also speaks to the one of X in the title as well. But, definitely make sure you're following that Twitter. We'll talk a little more about Drip House in just a minute, but that'll be a tie in there as well. So, I think that I think as we look at kind of the structure of the Discord, it's important to me that we maintain it as a record, that we maintain it as an archive where you can dive as deeply as you want into what's now closing in on 3 years of activity from the very early days of starting to get people together to now, all these different things that are kind of going on within the community and under the umbrella of across the Macroverse. And, that's not going to get smaller. It's only going to get bigger. So I think, thinking through how to keep that clean. For anyone watching, I do want to point out, if you are a writer or an artist, or kind of want to be heading down either of those paths, one of the things that I put in place last week, which we want to do more of in thinking about this, is you can now self-assign some roles. So as we start to put some channels together that are more about craft, that are working together around writing and artistry and being a creator, that's a big focus of what is important to me inside of the Macroverse, that people have a home to polish those particular skill sets. And so that'll be something that you'll see a little more in March as we start to organize some activity around that. But Mixprint is the geek side of all. It's the real geek world, collector world side of all of this, and again, just another access point into this great ecosystem. Yeah.
So, and I don't know if you mentioned it here. I know you mentioned price point and
So the quick detail. So we're aiming towards a February 29th launch for the Mix Pass. It will be on the Magic Eden launch pad, so it'll be right on the homepage and featured by them. Our goal is to get as many people early access through pre-sales as possible. And so Magic Eden actually has a really cool mechanic around this. Rather than having to get on a white list and hope that you get there early and all that stuff, you can actually pre-purchase the Mix Pass right now. And so you go to there's one of the things we did in the space is we offered 10 pre-sale slots with a 10% discount. So you can actually probably still find that comment from the Twitter space that we did, or hit me up in the Discord and I'll hook you up that way. But for people that are getting in early, we will give a discount as well. But you basically go ahead and pre-purchase the Mix Pass. It's $140, and then apply whatever discount that you want to that. Like I said, that gives you the first 3 drops, which will be about $40 a piece. So that's basically $120 plus the extra $20 that kind of goes to the other perks and rewards and things that we're building into the pass as kind of the club part of it. And then if you get in at the discounted rate, you kind of just come down to the actual cost of the first 3 drops. So it's kind of both early access combined with a pre-sale, combined with this kind of exclusive membership club. And that's how that works. So there's 2,222 Mix Passes available, and 22 of them will be the golden ticket editions. And then there will be some silver tier editions of the Mix Pass as well, which will have some additional perks too.
So there's a lot of 2s.
Yes, there's a lot of 2s.
Any meaning?
It just seemed like a fun number. I don't have like a strong like numerology thing, but I do like fun number combinations. And so 2,222 total supply. 1% of that is 22. So there's our golden tickets. We're pushing to launch on February 29th. This is a leap year. So once every 4 years, you get the chance to launch something on the 29th. So we're pushing for that as the date, because why not? Like, that's just cool. So, we're just having fun.
Can you even celebrate the anniversary at that point, or is that
That's a good question. I mean, I do think about people whose birthday is on February 29th. So, that is a good question. What do you do? Maybe you're aging at a quarter of the rate of everyone else because you only get a birthday every 4 years.
So, and then one last question, and then we can kind of move on to the next topic. But I think you said the ticket will get you the first 3 drops guaranteed.
Yeah. Now, so Mix Pass. Yeah, go ahead. So
if you don't get the Mix Pass, can you still purchase those individually?
Yeah, you absolutely will be able to. So so I will say, there will be a limited supply of each drop. So, the Mix Pass holders are going to get first dibs on everything that comes out. There will generally be, a little additional supply available for, general consumption. But this is something, I have been a member of both Proof and the Zen Academy, 333 Club for a while. And what I love about both of those communities is that there is something that is just kind of special about feeling like you're in a club, like you're really a part of something where, I've shied away from that in general within Macroverse. Like, I don't want to gate access to participation. And that's something I don't think we'll ever do. But I think, when we're talking about kind of collectibles and making special things and being able to provide some real value and utility to the people that are kind of, jumping in the early days, like, I think that's cool. So, it's a club I would want to be a part of. They say never be a member of a club that would have you as a member. I think that's but this is one I would want to be a part of.
For sure. So, and then I think you've kind of already spit it out, but I think the next big news that I'm super excited about is Drip House, or Drip dot House, Haus.
Drip House.
But no, I luckily kind of got on, you guys were kind of leaving breadcrumbs about it on X a while back and mentioned it in the Discord, and I, kind of jumped in and got a wallet, and I've got, man, more Solana NFTs than I know what to do with. It's so cool, and it's so much cool stuff. And the cool thing about it too is that you can tell with a lot of these people that they're actually like building stuff, and you're just getting snippets for free of what the big picture is going to be. So I'm actually, like, people I've never heard of, I'm really looking forward to see what comes from the little drops that I get. But no, man, this to me is huge news. And then for anybody that's not familiar, the vibe and the people on Solana are, the energy's just, it's through the roof. So we can talk about subscriptions and stuff in a minute, but man, I'm just excited. It's like overnight success in my mind. So please, anything you have to share, I'm signed up. I'm pumped. I'm subscribed to everything, notifications turned on, and I'm waiting for the first drop.
That's the move for sure. So I mean, I think, I will just sing the praises of Drip House for a minute. So we're thrilled to be on there. There is a long waiting list for people trying to get on now because it's really taken off. So we're thrilled to, kind of be on there now. I think it's such a good moment in time to be engaging with Drip House and with the collectors there, and just the whole community on Drip in particular, and Solana in general. So, here we are on the Macroverse page. This is where you subscribe. We went from 0 to now 49,000 subscribers in 24, a little over 24 hours now, which is, amazing. And thank you for everyone that has subscribed. I think we're going to do some really fun things here. But if you're not familiar with Drip House, just to give a quick overview, I mean, this is what's so fun about it. And, I've said a couple times publicly that, outside of what we're building at Macroverse, Drip House is the thing I'm the most excited about in the Web3 space right now. I think they've really hit the nail on the head in a way that I have not seen any other platform do, where it's really the perfect balancing act between the magic of the ownership of digital things and the access to be able to just jump in and play and have the fun of the space, honestly, without some of the downside, which I think people get a little bit tired of around, floor price and FUD and all the stuff. Like, it really is a celebration of artists and their creativity. And yet they've built a system that allows essentially for artists to deliver free drops to their subscribers, but also to be rewarded by the subscribers that really respond to those drops. So, this is my account on Drip House, and as as Tiny said, like, I've got now a ton of NFTs that have come. All of these, not all of them, most of them are free drops from the different artists that I follow on the platform. And then there have now been, 6 or 7 that I've gone and bought on secondary because I wanted the rare or the legendary tier. This guy's drop, shout out to Vanta. This is his first drop that happened, I think yesterday.
That one's nice.
It's yeah, it's dope. So, you go and, there's 3 different flavors that it comes in. And I got the common edition for free, but I liked it so much that I went and bought the other 2. So it's like now I have that whole little set of his. And then every time you give someone a like, which is essentially a drip, it spends the drips that you have. And what I think is so cool is every 6 hours you can come and get somewhere between 1 and 10 drips. You then dole those drips out as likes or thanks to the different artists that you like and support. So I'll give one to them. I'll give one to them. What's cool is you can buy more. So it has kind of the in-app currency, kind of vibe of Roblox if you really want to give out a bunch of drips or thanks. But those drips are then redeemable by each artist for USDC. And so, as people have been able to curate a base of collectors and subscribers, there's a monetary exchange. And so it's this really cool mechanism where you're getting a bunch of really cool stuff for free, but then by both donating the drips that you get from the kind of drip machine, as well as by buying more drips that you can then hand out as thanks, like you're also supporting the creators and the ecosystem to continue to grow and thrive. And right now it's working really well. Like the equilibrium between those 2 things is really, really working. And I think it's a real testament to the team there, the creators they've been able to attract, and just the delightful experience that is there on the platform. So something we're very excited to be a part of, and I'm having fun with it.
And I was going to say, I got in, it was super easy. Sorry, I got a Phantom wallet. I think probably you recommended that to me, but it's similar to a MetaMask in the fact that it has a web browser and it has some suggested sites that you can go to. But this is another thing that I loved about Drip House is there's the drip.tensor.trade where you can actually go, you can list these for sale, you can buy others, but there's a full marketplace for these and the other ones that you maybe aren't subscribed to or collecting. So, aside from Drip House, it's like not only can you get these for free and find some super cool art and artists, but there's a whole marketplace supporting it. And like you said, you can buy drips. You can get drips for free. It's just, it's been super fun for me for something that didn't cost anything to get into. I mean, I have now put some money into it, but I got started 100% for free, and it's not something that you have to pay money to get into it.
Yeah. And look, just real talk, man, coming from the Ethereum side of things, like, when you jump over onto Tensor, which is the marketplace, and go like, I really want that legendary. It's awesome. And then it's like $10. And the transaction fee is like a penny.
Nothing.
You're like, yes, please. Like, so, it makes it very easy to support these creators. And so, I think when we think about what we're going to do there with Macroverse, we are planning the first drip for next week. So working on putting that together right now. It will have a direct tie-in to Mixprint. So, I'm always kind of looking at how we can tie all these things together. And so if you subscribe on Drip House and then get that first drip for free next week, there will be some utility that ties into the MixPass drop coming up. So I recommend that. And I think for our existing community, we're going to do something that people will be excited about as well. So I think bringing those different pieces together in this way, again, just a way to get more people exposed to the Macroverse and to the various things that we're we're building, as well as to connect to this incredible community of creators on Drip House. And as Tiny said, this really goes out to you, Lady Valor. I know you did set up your wallet, but the nice thing about Phantom, I'm not logged in at the moment, and I'm not going to do that publicly, but the nice thing about the Phantom wallet, and I'll shout out the Magic Eden wallet as well. Like, both of those are multi-chain wallets. And so, as much as we like MetaMask on the Ethereum side, the really cool thing about Phantom and Magic Eden is they actually have an Ethereum address, a Solana address, a Polygon address. So you can actually have one wallet that you can then go basically to any of the different marketplaces, to any of the different chains, and not any, but at least those three main chains, and interact with the different applications, and never have to necessarily switch back and forth if you don't want to. So it's kind of a cool system. And one more shout out for the pre-sales on Mixprint. The way we're doing those is with a Magic Eden partner called Helios. And that also supports multi-chain transactions. So you can actually come in with your Ethereum wallet and pay in ETH, or you can come in and pay with Solana, or you can come in and pay with USDC. So it's a cool system where you can actually use whatever you've got to get that mix pass pre-sale.
Very cool.
So that's Drip House closing in on 50,000 subs. Really excited. Who's going to bring us over the 50,000 mark, though, I think is the question right now.
I feel like right before we started this, it was still at like 48 and change. So,
yeah, and now it's over 49. I mean,
like I said, it's just going. Man, let's go.
Just keeps going.
I see Ultimate Warrior right now. Like,
That's right. Oh man, where do you want to go now? You want to talk about new stuff on the mobile app, or Darkland, or what?
I think definitely we love talking about comics and the app. So that was the next big thing, and that's I think what I look forward to the most is what's coming out each week. I know that there was some new Darkland. I didn't see what else dropped this week, but that's one that we haven't really spent much time on in quite some time, and it's one of my favorites. So I definitely would love to talk about that.
Then let's go to Darkland, and let's go to the epic version of Darkland. If you find the last couple of shows we've done a deeper dive on the mobile app, which is on iOS or Android. So this is our Macroverse web platform, which also works beautifully on your phone. But this is the Darkland page on macroverse.com. So the way that these things are organized on the web platform is each of these is a world. Inside that world, there are characters and there are epics. Epics are the collectible digital comic editions of these. And so Darkland, as you can see, we talk about as Game of Thrones in hell. I will say, if you are watching this with young kids around, you may want to not.
Cover eyes and ears.
I think the episode that we'll take a look at today will not be too bad. But when we were producing Darkland, we would talk about it with the artist, and the thing that we would always say is, if they could do it on Game of Thrones, we can do it in this series. And all that entails. So if you've ever seen Game of Thrones, you know how far we were kind of pushing the boundaries as far as content. This is a hard R rating when it comes to language and other content. So I just want to put that content warning in front of the preview. The other notable thing about Darkland, it was created and written by Evan Shapiro. Evan is an incredible just person in general, but also he's an Emmy-winning producer, including Portlandia. He's been someone very involved in the comedy scene and the podcast world. Like, he's just been all over the entertainment landscape. And the quick version of how we got to Darkland, we got introduced to him, and started talking about what we might do together. And he's like, let me send you these 3 scripts for these different projects. And maybe one of them, these are film projects. And he's like, maybe you'll find 1 or 2 of them that you would want to adapt or produce as a comic series. And so he sent us the 3 scripts. One of them was Darkland. 2 of them were, something else. We did not know that any of them were written by him. So we went back to him and we're like, these other 2, Darkland's pretty interesting. Let's talk about that. And he was like, that's the one I wrote. And we were like, okay, cool. So lots of fun. And then landing on Frank Calico, who also happens to be the artist on the Wanderers series that we're working on right now. Frank is just an amazing artist, and all the artists that we worked with on Darkland are awesome. But the art that Frank put together for the series is just, it's this magical combination. Frank is I believe he's from Spain. He's definitely he's European. He lives in Hong Kong, and then he has this really kind of anime influenced, but still very much his own kind of stylistic approach to these things. So I'm just a huge fan of his work. So here we are on the Darkland page. I think so. If you or go ahead.
I feel like with Darkland, because I know we jumped into, my big one was Digital Pools, and with them we jump in, and it's in that kind of like lava-y, liquidy, but like this is kind of the same. The colors, the artwork. There's so much in it that just pops and fits. You're talking about his style and his artwork, and that kind of like anime inspired, but. Obviously there's a lot of like religious, undertone and background to this, but just the story and everything. I mean, like it's everything about it's captivating. The story itself sucks you in, and there's so much into it. But like as you can see here, I mean, look at the artwork is just mind blowing.
Yeah. So this is the animated edition cover art. I love to point this out. We built all these cool little things into the platform that we probably don't spend enough time explaining. when you collect these editions, these epic editions are the different rarity tiers in each series. So our collectible digital comics, they are packaged as what we call epics. You can mint them currently on the Macroverse website. When you do, they look like this. And so you pick the different series that you want, mint them, they go in your collection, and then that's what gives you access to the whole series that's actually pushed into and contained inside the NFT itself, which is a totally unique thing that we invented. So these are the different rarity tiers, different cover art. Each of them is this interactive tile that tells you about the series. Shows you what episodes are currently contained within it. We continue to push new episodes and new content into the epics until they're complete. So in this case, we've just released episode 12 out of 13. So a great time to collect a Darkland epic, binge through episode 12, and then you're getting the season finale next week. But inside of these tiles as well, you can find out, who the creators are. You can come in here and go to the cover art for each edition. I love this black and white version of the ink edition, cover. And so here's Eve with Lucifer and Satan the Third. In this version of Hell, Satan is actually a position. So you we have Satan the First, the Third, the Second, the Third over the course of the history of this universe. You can come into the full screen version of it. You can download the high res version of it and use this wallpaper. Like all this good stuff is kind of built into the platform.
Those high res, some of the, because that's on all of the epic covers, so not just the Darkland one. But man, those high res covers are mind blowing. I love them.
Yeah, it's just gorgeous stuff. I mean, I'm so proud of the talent of the people that we brought together to make these. And then in each of these series, you can see the different tiers that have been minted so far. So far, 1 of 19 of the animated editions has been minted. 1 of 60 of the collector's editions have been minted. So, they come in these different collectible tiers. There's a 1 of 1 in each series, and none of those have been found just yet. So you could still be the lucky 1 of 1 minter. And the 1 of 1 cover art for Darkland is incredible. It's from a game artist that we met who created this whole 3D scene with the different characters, and so it looks like an animated film or a super high quality game cinematic of all the different characters. It's almost like it's like that combined with like a super high end TV promo for what the TV series might look like. It's just really, really cool. So anyway, they're one of ones hiding in each of these collections. But then when you have these epics, and I'll go over here to mine. I must have a couple of Darklands in here. Do I have to reload the page, perhaps? I love when we're demoing things, and that's always when you get a little bit of technical difficulties. There we go. So here's a couple in my wallet. So all the ones that have been minted. Here are the ones that I've collected. And so you can do two things. You can either click the start button and it'll also turn to continue. So pick you right back up wherever you left off, or you can go into the episodes and pick the particular episode that you want to read. I'm going to go into one that's maybe not quite as sexually explicit for the purposes of this stream, but this one is a lot of fun. So spoiler alerts, coming in. This is what our beautiful widescreen comics player looks like when you're on a web or tablet device. And let's play a little Extreme Eden. So this is the game show that Penn Jillette hosts in hell that is being enjoyed by some of our characters. So, here's Frank's amazing artwork. We get to meet some of the other characters across the different families and kind of the different factions that are vying for control of hell. There's a lot of plotting and scheming going on behind the scenes from the different characters.
So that's the big thing I was going to say from the very beginning to see, how many characters there are.
A lot of characters in this season.
Oh man, I mean, but not only that, just how they interact with each other and how they talk to each other and how they plot against each other and how they dislike each other, but are stuck to have to work. I mean, and then anybody just the way I was raised, I read the Bible when I was young. So to see this version of the story, and it's just, man, it's mind blowing, and to me it's just captivating. I mean, it's like one of those things that it's like you can't tap through it fast enough. And again, that's one of the things I love about Macroverse is that the episodes are a little bit more condensed as opposed to what was released on Webtoon. If people don't know that, they could have seen it there. But it's, again, it stretches it out. I feel like I'm getting a lot more out of it than to just see the regular non-tap format. I mean, I've kind of read it in both now, and it's it's so entertaining, and again, the artwork is just perfect. I mean, it all fits together so perfect.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I will say, this was one where because there's a difference between the series that I and Adam and I write, because obviously we know where it's all going, and then there's the delight of working with an artist that is bringing that to life. And then there's, an entirely different joy with something like this, where, we're really just producing and shepherding it, through the creative process and kind of bringing Evan's vision and his kind of voice to life in this format. And, this is just, it's so much fun to see, someone that, has this very intimate knowledge of, the Bible and the scripture and all the different kind of variations of that he's coming from being able to kind of take that and then bring his own real point of view to it, and it might not be obvious just tapping through this series, but there is a lot of reference to things that are actual scripture, and the different characters, and while he puts a twist on a lot of those characters and the relationships, All right, I'm going to pause here because this might be a little too hot for
too hot for TV.
Unintended for this audience. But you know, if you are brave in your comic consumption, I recommend the series very, very heavily. It's
I will say again, having been, you know, what I think that might be the only one that actually went on to Webtoon from, you know, within the Macroverse ecosystem. But the highlight for me was when there was an episode banned.
Yes.
That to me is like, again, just shows, you know, like you said, kind of like the HBO version. I mean, like it's just, man, I just, you can't get enough of it. I mean, and you're not going to get it anywhere else.
There was an episode that was too hot for Webtoons, which is funny to me because there were some other episodes that they didn't ban or take down that I thought were much worse.
Much worse, yeah.
But nonetheless, it is a badge of honor to be banned by Webtoons. So that is Darkland episode. As I said, episode 12 is live in your Epics right now. If you don't have Epics yet and you like this kind of stuff, like, come on, go get some. Macroverse.com. And then let's, you know, just real quickly look at a couple things on the mobile app. I think, you know, we've probably spent most of our time for the evening, but you know, the mobile app is the other place to engage with not just what's currently on the Web3 platform, but all of the different creators and series that we are putting out, and a lot more to come there.
I don't want to interrupt you, but I'm going to.
Interrupt me.
Or maybe I do want to. But before we move on, like I said, everything is kind of archived, so you can go back and see. But we did do the whole deep dive into Darkland before it was released, and there was the reverse episode. So here on the YouTube channel, you can go back. You can actually see a deep dive with Evan and Eben. But it was a phenomenal interview, and I mean, I fell in love with everybody instantly, and in the series. I mean, just before I even read it, and I would encourage everybody to go back and check that stuff out as well.
Yeah, I started to say it might not be obvious clicking through it, but it's also got quite a bit of comedy in it. It's a dark comedy. With you know, set in hell.
Yeah.
Sometimes Evan sometimes describes it as, you know, Game of Thrones meets Veep in hell, which I think is a pretty good description. So here is the Macroverse mobile app. This is pulled up on my desktop, but this is the tablet version of it at the moment. We do have a couple of bug fixes that we're pushing through, but the most notable new things this week are new episodes of Seasons and Billy Smoke. We don't need to necessarily dive into those. If you want to have a deeper dive on both of those series, we talked quite a bit about them in last week's episode here with Tiny. But is there anything else you want to kind of highlight on the app while we're here?
Well, I mean, one of the ones that I just started recently, and I actually have the Epic to, is Hex 11. Mm-hmm. And I think, I don't know if we touched on that or not before, but that's one that I've jumped into, and I am really enjoying the magic, I think it says like Harry Potter and Blade Runner maybe, or
very much so.
But yeah, so I think we did talk about this one before. That's one that, again, I'm just really enjoying that one.
Yeah.
I don't get a ton of time to read like I used to, so like I'm trying to finish some of the ones I started, and that's one that, like, I mean, I'm really enjoying it.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, we love it. We did talk a bit about Hex 11, I think either last week or the week before. So I'll highlight a kind of a hidden gem, which is also a complete series here on the app. So I think, you know, there are many things which are kind of continuing, and so Hex 11 has, you know, 2 seasons out on the app. The first season is now collected in an Epic edition. We've got the 3rd season ready to start releasing. I think the 4th is kind of in production at this point. So there's a lot more Hex 11 coming. A lot of things are, ongoing series because they're being released as they're actually being created by the creators. And then there's a handful of things which are full and complete, stories, like the full graphic novel, and that's kind of the end of the story. Rock Mary Rock is one of those. I think this one is a lot of fun. This is definitely one that's more in the all ages category. So, while we gave you the content warning for Darkland, this is one you actually can read with kids. And it's this really fun story, really fun style. And, it's this girl who goes to find her grandmother at this, opera house that, she's been fixing up. And I'll kind of quickly go through some of the early parts so I can kind of introduce the premise here. She goes down into the basement and she finds this old rock and roll guitar and all these musical instruments and these awards on the wall, and she's not sure why is all this stuff here and where did it come from, and grandma doesn't really know, and so she's taking a look at it. Man, it's so beautiful. It can't be grandma's guitar. Whose is this, and how can it work without electricity? And she grabs a hold of this guitar and it unleashes the ghost of this rock god. And the two of them then have to go on an adventure together to essentially figure out how to deal with some of the things that she's dealing with as a teenager and how to help him find some peace in the afterlife. And it's just a great, fun story that, again, is a whole and complete read in and of itself. So that's one that I really like and have a lot of fun with. And like I said, complete thing is there, and it goes into some wonderful places by the end of the series. And again, just a fun one to dive into.
I was going to say, there's one other one that I started, and I was looking through the app just now, and I think it was like a medieval kind of one, I feel like, and I'm thinking it was I don't know how to say it, Aeneid.
Aeneid, yes. Super cool as well. Good.
And I will say the first episode of that I did enjoy it. I haven't got to go forward into it, but super cool. Again, something that I've never seen before. Outside of like movies and TV. So I love the concept. The story's cool. The artwork. There was I think a lot of black and white and stuff, which I really, for me being colorblind, I dig.
I did not know that, Tiny. Yes.
Oh man. So yeah, the black and white and like shading, I absolutely love. I mean, that's like one thing I dig. But yeah, the style here is super cool. I love it.
It's really cool. I mean, I have a real soft spot for people that are making independent comics and doing it at a high level. And this is a series that's all by J.L. Johnson Jr. I've had many conversations with him. He's actually he's not as active in the kind of Web3 and crypto space, but he's been in crypto since like 2013, very early adopter. I'm sure probably has some nice bags from the early days, but what I think is something that we talk a lot about and have talked a lot about over the last couple of years is world building. And, he is one of the most dedicated world builders that I have ever met. And so in some of our kind of hour-long conversations where he's talked me through kind of the lore and the history and the universe that, this all takes place in, this is really his take on a, Tolkien-esque, kind of that level of detail in kind of all the different races and all the different towns. And he could show you a map of the entire world and how all the different things connect, and just really in depth as far as, where the world is and how it works. And so I really appreciate that level of dedication and detail. And as a writer and storyteller, it gives him this, very complete canvas to then paint these stories out on top of. So yeah, very good call. Very fun one. The first series is also up and complete, and there's more of that as well. So a good pull. If you like Dungeons and Dragons and fantasy, it's a very good one.
Super cool.
Yeah. So there, couple fun ones to jump into. While we're here, I'll also give a quick shout out to Basic Space. I love this series and I love this creator. So Patrick Williams, if you were early with us, you have some ABCs of NFTs floating around. He is the artist who created those. He is actually in charge of the sequential art program at one of the colleges, I believe here in California, and just a master of the form. He has this style and approach that's, for his own work, this kind of irreverent, esoteric, indie, but just so many different influences from classic animation, and you can see almost like a little Ninja Turtle influence in here. There's like a little Galactus reference, that comes in later, and I just love this stuff so
That's the one I remember seeing those sneak peeks.
Yeah. It's so underground comics in the best possible way. And you can see t-shirts, this is like your Hot Topic comics fix right here in the best possible way. Just so wonderful. So I think the Tap Story version of this worked out really, really well. And then the other notable thing is, if anyone noticed earlier, I know some of you did, we did a Kickstarter with Stupid Buddy Studios earlier this year to produce a graphic novel, which will be coming out later this year. And Patrick is also the artist on that, on the Von Dingles. So yeah, I mean, just twists and turns in Basic Space in the best possible way.
Can people still get the ABCs of NFTs if they're new to the Discord?
So they're on secondary. You can certainly get them on secondary. They're not expensive. They're on Polygon. So, by all means, you can snap them up. I think we're going to do something else with them a little bit later this year and kind of reissue them in a slightly different way. Yeah. The challenge that we ran into is when we were doing them, we were manually distributing them. And so that was great. And it was like a few hundred, but as it started to be more and more and more people, it's like collecting wallet addresses and then airdropping them out. It just got to be a little too much given everything else that's going on. So, we think we have a better way of kind of bringing that back. And actually, I've been planning a kind of a next episode, given what's happened in the space and where we are in the space, and just kind of, I think, a fun, irreverent take on kind of what the last year has been. The roller coaster.
A bunch of people.
That's right. So the roller coaster ride that we've all been on, I think, is ripe for an ABCs of NFTs. But anyway, the first 4 episodes, which are tons of fun, are definitely out there to be found and discovered and pretty easily acquired if anyone wants them. Something else to do with that. And then same deal with Written by AI, which is 100 episode comic strip that we started to put out, and then again sort of realized that trying to do low priced drops on Ethereum just doesn't really work. And so, I think we've got another solution for that we've been working on as well. So some fun stuff for some of that will make its way back in at some point relatively soon. So,
perfect.
Yeah. So, all right, man, I really feel like we went around Tiny's universe tonight in the best possible way.
And I actually finally got to ask some questions and got some good answers, and I look forward to next week again as usual.
Yes.
And I'm curious to see the way it's been going. It seems like each week, man, there's actually there's a lot happening now. Where we used to when we used to do this every week, we didn't always have so much to talk about. So it could be who knows what it could end up being today. But it's been really exciting. I'm super excited to see what happens in the next week.
Yeah, it ebbs and flows. There's a lot that goes into putting all this stuff together, and so, like I said, it's fun to be able to put some darts on the board, some pieces on the board, let's say, and be able to share some of that stuff finally. For anyone that's happy to see it, I can only tell you how happy I am to finally be able to talk about it and show it and show that it was something real all along.
I was thinking about that about halfway through the stream. You were saying something, and I was like, it's about, and in my mind, I'm like, it's about that time I can finally start to be like, I told you so. I told you so. The epics are out. You know, here comes all this other stuff. It's coming.
I do want to take one moment as we're wrapping up and address something without saying without calling anybody out. But I do want to say, like, you know, there was an interaction in the Discord this week that I just want to publicly state for anyone that is around our ecosystem and the, you know, the various projects that are kind of under the umbrella of Macroverse at this point. So, you know, the Vogu, the Bushidos, the Koala Intelligence Agency, the long standing project that we that I swear something will happen with the GSA, and of course our own, you know, Zeds and Deadtown and more that are coming. So, you know, we've said there are at least, you know, 4 more character collections, probably 5 that will be launching this year over the course of the year. So as more and more of these collections of characters come into the Macroverse, we have plans for those. And even if it's not obvious what those plans are, or if, you know, certain communities, and Tiny can certainly speak to this, you know, being frustrated with the time that it takes to bring some of those plans to life, you know, I absolutely promise you those things will happen. Like, there is no world where that doesn't happen. And it does take time to build it out. But the thing that I want to be crystal clear about is, like, we have plans for these franchises. That doesn't mean anyone else can't do something with their characters and with their NFTs. Like, I think this is really important to clarify that the way we are building this modular, multi-franchise ecosystem is that we do intend each of these worlds that we create ourselves or that we bring into the Macroverse, that each of these worlds become legitimate entertainment franchises. But the magic of doing that with NFTs, the reason we would choose to do that with NFTs, because why would we do that if it wasn't for some reason? Like, why would we ever go down this road if we didn't think it was worth it on some level? So the reason to do that with NFTs is because it allows for some things that are not possible without them, or that are much more challenging without them. And one of those things is the way that licensing and intellectual property and ownership works. And so if you own a character in one of these worlds, you own that NFT, you own that character, you own that intellectual property, and you can do anything with it. If you want to go start a burger joint with your koala, by all means, I would like to come eat there. If you want to launch t-shirts with your, you know, Vogu, like, show me where to get one. If you want to create a comic series with your agents from the GSA, do it. You know, Lady Valor is doing that with one of her characters. So, you know, there are no restrictions outside of, you know, racism and Nazism that we would, you know, try to get in the way of. Like, go do your thing. Let us know about it, and we'll support it in every way that we possibly can. So the only question is it canonical or not with the main franchise that we're trying to build as this larger entertainment franchise? And our hope is that it would be. Like, it's only to our benefit and to your benefit if it makes sense for the thing that you're making and the thing that we're making to fit together and lift each other up. That's the hope. But it doesn't mean that you are restricted in being able to do the thing that you want to do. And so I just want to make this, you know, publicly on the record very clear. You can do whatever you want. Then we can have a conversation about, is it canon or not? And if it is canon, you get a, you know, greenlit stamp of approval. We do a licensing agreement. We share revenue in anything that we help to build out and bring out further into the world through distribution or partnerships or any of those things. But there's nothing that we're going to do to get in the way of you being creative and doing stuff with the characters that you own. So, you know, it is important to me that people know that we support that we as a community and a collective of creators are aligned around, you know, how these things can be used and how they can actually work together to lift each other up. I think, you know, more of that is actually my hope for the future as we build these things out.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think that's been like kind of my goal over the last year and a half is to get the most amount of creative minds and creative people to come join us. And maybe that's to write, maybe it's creative in music, maybe it's people that direct. There's just so many different things that we're going to need all of it in the future. So I just encourage anybody that wants to make or build or create or has dreams of these things that they these visions they see in their head. Macroverse for me is the place that really brought that out of me. And I just encourage everybody to come in that's got a creative mind.
Yeah. 100%. So I just want to end with that. Like, come play. We want to play with you. Come play. And in the meantime, go get on the Mixprint Twitter, subscribe to the Drip House page, collect some epics, like get into all this stuff because it's all awesome. We don't think you'll regret it. And there's a lot more fun stuff to come. So thank you for tuning in, Tony. Thank you for hosting. And we will be back same time next week on the various channels. One last announcement. I will put this up in the Discord, but we are going to be on another Twitter space, or I'm going to be on another Twitter space tomorrow talking about Mixprint. So if you want to come ask any more questions or, hear a little bit about it again, or just get some other details, that is going to be happening tomorrow at looking in my calendar. That is going to be happening on at 9:00 tomorrow morning Pacific time, and we'll put the details up on the Twitter page and on the Discord as we have the actual link later this evening. But it should be fun and more to come. So once again, do all the things, come play, and we'll see you next week.
Awesome. Thanks, man.
Thank you. Bye-bye.